So we're going to look now at a couple final conversations before we conclude. I wanted to give you something around decision making, and I call this the power map for decision making. So as you're in that process of thinking, you can use this as a guide. Start over here. It's on the left side of my screen. So I'm standing in the future. We got a feel for what that looks like. And then you're coming backwards from that and you're asking, what is my desired outcome? Right? What does this look like? And then ask, what are the possibilities if I choose path A? So now you're looking at different strategies. You're saying, well, I could do this, or this, I could do this. And then on the other side, you may have another path called, why. So ask the same thing. What are the possibilities if I choose this? And it's a bit of a pros and cons list. You're just thinking through it. You can write it out. But what happens if we go this way? And what happens if we go that way? And keep thinking backwards from the future with it. List out the possible outcomes from each path. That could be the benefits. It could be the risks. Traditionally, there's like a SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of anything in strategic planning, whether you use that framework, SWOT framework, or you just simply make a list through your own thinking. You've got to do the kind of investigating here that, again, is building the logic for your choice forward. And then after careful consideration, choose the option that most closely honors your desired outcome. Looking back to the future where you stood, we want X to happen. This is what we're looking to accomplish. Now you've chosen your pathway forward. All right. And that's where then we plan from. Now you take actions and you assign accountabilities and you assign milestones, you put dates to it, and you measure your progress along that path now coming back to the future. How's that looking? Does it make sense? Okay. And then I put at the bottom here, trust your intuition and trust an abundance mindset. So I believe that intuition plays a large role in business, right? And in life. And again, back to some of the points we talked about in strategic thinking, what feels good, right? What feels right? What gives you a certain level of inspiration? What makes you feel peaceful? It doesn't mean that there's not work to do. Again, there may be plenty of work, but in my experience, I've learned to not act like reactively, to not just jump in until I can see clearly the outcomes that I'm committed to. And you could say being at the source of the actions I'm going to take. Therefore, I'm never just on automatic. Well, it's not like I'm never on automatic, but when done well, you've designed a strategic thinking and a plan to follow, which is creative, which is inspired. There's inspired action versus forced action. In this kind of world, there's not really manipulation needed or forcefulness or command people what to do. Okay, it's more a pulling of, the culture becomes one of, we're out to accomplish something together. Start with your intuition. If as the leader, you're building something that has force in it, okay, that has scarcity in it, getting to the abundance part here, that has, we have to make this decision or else in it. You're going to foster a complete organizational culture, which is one of some version of fear, because if we don't do something, really bad stuff will happen. Scarcity, which means we don't have enough resources, so we had to make this decision. And manipulation, where people are kind of, again, working in silos and out for themselves. So big thinking here, again, going back where we began. What I think about, I bring about. What I create, I can then invent as my own. Okay, what I react to, I'm kind of imprisoned by, I'm shackled by. What I'm in fear of, I get stuck with. And then we have an organization who's stuck with surviving, versus we are an organization who embraces creation. We're an organization who embraces innovation and spirit, and we will find the pathway to fulfill what we've said is important for us. All right, so much to do here. Again, that's happening in the background as a leader of your team or your organization. How you think about the future really dictates everything about your culture. A lot of people, not to belabor the point here, but a lot of people spend a lot of time, resources on how to build a great culture. And if this is missing, this kind of big future that you've seen for yourself and you're inspired by, and that you're communicating with your team and inviting other people to participate in, if it's missing, none of that really will make a difference, because you can put all the incentives in place you want and take people on barbecues and, find ways to send emails to your customers, but it will be lifeless. It will just be a bunch of stuff that maybe works unreliably for short periods of time. This is the real deal. This is how you put a man on the moon, so to speak. All right. So lastly, the power of team. A lot of what I've talked about here is obviously your own mindset, what you see, and how to nurture this environment for great strategic thinking. And for it to get realized, we must bring it to the team, right? Most of you are not a solo job. Even if you are, there's other people you interact with. And to do most big things in life, we need people around us, and that's the fun of building teams. So strategic thinking as a team magnifies your impact. What you saw is possible gets expanded with other people contributing to your vision. Now, to do this well, and again, I have resources on this, you got to be able to facilitate conversations with your team where you are authentically inviting them to look with you at what you see, versus you've come up with the answer and everyone needs to get in line with you. So that's not how you strategic think with your team. The same way you went through creating room for yourself, an environment for yourself to do your best thinking, you got to find a way with your team to do the same. And it's not complicated. Just make sure that you have a commitment to your team's participation. You see, when I'm listening for my team to contribute to it, and I'm willing to have my original thought expand with other people's contribution, like really, it will change from how you saw it, but you're still the birth of the idea, and now other people contributing along the way. It's what magnifies, obviously, the impact. But you got to be willing to let go of what you originally saw for the benefit of the team to grow it beyond where you've taken it. So don't miss the opportunity to involve key people early in the process. This is also how great implementation in strategic planning works. So now once we get to strategic planning, it's all about execution, right? It's all about let's make things happen. Yes, we need to do that. Chad, there's a lot you talked about here about up in the sky, vision, standing in the top of the stadium. But yes, we got to get down there and score some touchdowns. If you want the team on board and invested, involve them early in the process of strategic thinking. Introduce your ideas once you're at the point where you've got them to the level where we talked about, and then invite their input, okay? Teams that, well, I think I put it here, teams that think together, execute together. Absolutely. So you're going to invite them, in fact, challenge them, in fact, say, we need to come up with new ideas together. I don't know how to get there on my own. I don't have all the answers, but I do know this is a pretty darn good, exciting future, a good vision worth, I think, our time and our expertise for the next period of time to realize. What do you guys think? And have them input. And what are different ways we can make this happen? And then you start to populate a plan together, which will get you there. Okay, not unleashing the team to think strategically together leaves opportunities on the table every day. All those other things I pointed to, tunnel vision is the ordinary state of teams and organizations. They're not looking for new opportunities, and new opportunities walk by them every day to serve the customer, to build revenue, to build profit, to improve your morale, etc. Okay, everyone. So wrapping up, final tips and takeaways. Strategic thinking is an art form that you can embrace as a leader. Allow yourself to get strategic, often such that you are expanding into new desired outcomes. And I'll just say a quick point here. you can actually schedule yourself to do strategic thinking. And it's important because sometimes, especially with your team, you want to preface this kind of meeting with, we are going to think strategically in this meeting. We are not thinking tactically, which is more the planning part. We're not thinking about the actions in the calendar and who's doing what in this meeting. We are thinking strategically. Let's look big picture. Let's stand on the top of the stadium. Let's see what we're not seeing. Let's see what we can put in place that would elevate our game. And we're going to take the next 60 minutes or the next 30 minutes or the next 2 days to do that kind of thinking. Because you as a leader know, if we don't do our best thinking up front, we're going to go plan a bunch of actions and we're going to leave a lot on the table. So let's make sure we got the biggest canvas here to paint on. All right. So yes, you're going to turn strategy into action so that results follow. Yes, you will do that, but not before you are inspired by that, your strategic vision. And then finally, think strategic with your team to harness the power of alignment and execution. Alignment starts at the beginning. Execution starts before you get to work, because people are thinking, what does this look like realized? What does this result look like? And then that's how you plan. You plan from the end in mind. You plan to ensure business outcomes happen. You're not hoping for anything. You're not going for anything. You're going to get that sound logic in your strategic plan from your strategic vision. All right. So I hope that that book ends this kind of world of strategic thinking, how it's different from strategic planning, and how you can approach your team with it, and also just spend that time with yourself to really do quality work. So action items I'd leave you with. You can download the strategic thinking in 6 steps checklist that I reviewed there on screen. You can also download the power map for decision making. I invite you to schedule space in your calendar. Take an hour a week to think strategically about your business. If you don't do that now, put it in your calendar. Make sure you do it. For myself, I make sure every Monday that I have space, no matter what, to think strategically about the business and to look and to plan and to innovate and to create. And, then I put those into actions. But again, if you don't give yourself room, especially if this is new to you, you won't work the muscle. So you gotta schedule it. And then re-engage your team. Start to have this make a difference in your meetings. Start to share some strategic conversations. Maybe schedule a 30-minute strategy meeting where you're just talking about the future and where you're at and what we're missing and what opportunities are there that perhaps we haven't had space to talk about before. Ask your team what they're seeing. They see a lot. They see more than you think. And mostly no one asks them, how could we really improve? How could we really transform? How could we really meet our customers' demands in a new way? All right, so everyone, again, thank you for being here for this masterclass. And if you're an Academy member, again, I thank you for being here. If you're not an Academy member, I encourage you to check out our resources. You can find it at chadgibson.com and become an Academy member. What you get as an Academy member is access to masterclasses throughout the month. And we post at least 2 a month. And we also do courses released every month specific to leadership topics for business leaders, for sales leaders, for executives. And really, if you are committed to elevating your leadership in a short period of time and having on the court, so to speak, practical tips and strategies and tools to lead better teams today, that's the whole purpose of Leadership Academy. So I invite you to become a member. That's where all the goodies are. And until next time, yours in success. Keep leading strong.